November 13th, 2017. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. President, could I make a comment about the minutes?
Sure.
In reading the minutes, I just want to commend Rob Free, the Director of Public Works. He stated two projects that saved the city a considerable amount of money. One was over $219,000 and one was close to $459,000, and I think that should just be brought before everybody, and it's very commendable on saving probably over $500,000.
Thank you, Mr. DeWalt. Any other comments? I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve the minutes.
Thank you, Ms. Nicholas. Have a second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Smalls. Call the roll, Ms. Rao.
Ms. Nicholas?
Yes.
Mr. Smalls?
I vote yes.
Mr. DeWalt?
Yes.
Mr. Sidnor?
Yes.
President Les?
Yes. Move to agenda item number 6. Approval of the minutes of the closed session on Monday, November 13th, 2017. Authority for this closed session is contained in the general provisions 3-305, B in a bucket, 1 in a bucket, to discuss a personnel issue at 7:05 on a motion by Councilmember Ricks, suspended by Councilmember Crary. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the minutes of the closed session on Monday, November 13th, 2017, as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Smalls. Do I have a second?
Mr. President, I second the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Sidnor. Any discussion? Call the roll, Ms. Rao.
Mr. Smalls?
I vote yes.
Mr. Sidnor?
Yes.
Mr. DeWalt?
Yes.
Ms. Nicholas?
Yes.
President Les?
Yes. Move to agenda item number 7, report of the mayor and city council. And tonight I'll start with Mr. DeWalt.
I have several things to bring up as far as my report. After being sworn in, I attended on 11/16. I attended the Laurel Volunteer Fire Department. They were donating an ambulance to the Splendor Police Department and the East Montgomery Fire Department. The city's located north of Houston, Texas. They were devastated by Hurricane Harvey, and the great people at Laurel Volunteer Fire Department donated one of their ambulances to them with, I think it only had about 76,000 miles on it. And I got the honor and privilege to meet Chief Wally Wighat, which it was an honor to meet him and the 3 officers and firefighters that were with him. On 11/18, I attended the Old Town cleanup crew. It was a / chili cook-off. After we cleaned up sections of Old Town, we had a chili cook-off there. A lot of good Laurel people there. On 11/19, I helped deliver and pick up 21 turkeys for the seniors at the Selborne House for their Thanksgiving dinner. On 11/19, as part of the Lions Club, we had over 300 trees delivered along with the rescue squad and the fire department. We were able to do it in less than an hour. On 11/21, we also participated in a Lions Club tree delivery, this time only over 100 trees. On 11/23, I attended the Lars annual turkey trot. I believe there was over 800 participants at that, and it was well joined by both runners and walkers, and just a lot of good Laurel citizens there. Over the weekend, for the past 2 days on Saturday and Sunday, I helped out at the Laurel Lions tree sales being held at the Laurel Shopping Center by the big giant food sign. if anybody in the city or around the city needs a good, fresh tree, the Lions Club will be there all the way till Christmas Eve, and you'll probably see me there. Two other things that I've done since being sworn in, I enrolled in the city health insurance because I feel the only good way to recommend anything or make comments on is to use the same health insurance as the city employees. So I'll be part of that, and hopefully I could get some good insight into our health insurance for our employees. The rest is my donations from my salary to Operation No Person Left Behind. It's a local organization that helps disabled American veterans. That's the end of my report, President.
Thank you, Mr. DeWalt. Mr. Sidnor.
Yes, Mr. President, since I was sworn in, I attended a Evolution apartment grand openings with the mayor and Councilman Small. And then on this Friday, November 17th, I visited senior citizens at Laurel Lake Apartments to thank them for, that was my home base, to thank them for supporting me during the election. And on November 18th, I attended Lower Town Center with the mayor, Councilmember Nicholas, and Councilmember Smalls, and former Councilmember Crary. There was a lot of people attended that. That was very exciting as well. But I also want to take time to thank the voters of Ward 2 for voting for me, electing me to this position. I'm very grateful and thankful. And I also want to thank the team that helped me win in, my campaign manager, Mr. Rail Simpson, and Ms. Natalie Williams, and people that helped me all the way, writing my bio and helping with the flyers, Tawana Sherrod, Tara White, Rahul Villa, Salim Adolfo. And just want to thank those individuals who helped me get to where I'm at. And that's my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Sidnor. Ms. Nicholas.
Thank you. Well, this is our first council meeting with our two new council members. So I'd like to welcome Carl DeWald and Keith Signor. Thank you, welcome. I'd like to hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. I attended the autumn tea that was at the Bethany Community Church on November the 18th, which was very well attended. And I also attended the tree lighting ceremony with the mayor and with the mayor and council members. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nicholas. Mr. Smalls.
Thank you, Mr. President. As my colleagues mentioned, I too attended the Evolution ribbon cutting. That apartment complex is absolutely stunning. A lot of amenities for the residents there. I think anyone who does decide to rent there will be very happy with what the complex has to offer. I also attended the tree lighting at the town center, well attended, and a good time for all. I also had the opportunity to attend the Planning Commission's November meeting, and just a couple of things of note, Mr. President, I'd like to share. One of the applications was for a final record of plat for the subdivision for the Spring Arbor project, which is at 7003 Van Dusen Road. That was approved by the Planning Commission. That project was subdivided into 55 residential lots that will be a part of that project. I think one of the most interesting applications that came before the Planning Commission for the November meeting was a special exception that was submitted for a home at 1110 Montgomery Street, Laurel Manor House. The owners of that property want to turn the building into a bed and breakfast, which I think will be a really nice addition to the city. That was also approved by the commission or recommended for approval to the Board of Appeals. That's my report.
Thank you, Mr. Smalls. November 14th through the 18th, I attended the National League of City meetings in Charlotte, North Carolina. The keynote speakers included Mark Kelly, astronaut, and his wife, Gabby Gifford. And it was truly inspirational to see Gabby Gifford walk across the stage without a cane. And she made a brief statement to all the members present and then walked off the stage with her husband. The other keynote speaker, and he spoke for, I guess, half hour, 40 minutes beyond what he was paid to do, I think, was Magic Johnson. He had a message about investing in cities and municipalities. He told a few stories about some of the people he's played basketball with, but both of these were truly inspirational. There was significant conversation and discussion at the conference on transportation infrastructure and services. One of the issues that came up was the railroad tanker car safety. I don't know if people know, but most of those rail cars do not have double walls on them. So if they get hit or they get in an accident, they tend to spill whatever they're carrying. There is a requirement that they be replaced with double wall cars that are much safer, but it's going to take a period of time. The other thing that there was a brief discussion on was maglev and Hyperloop. The high-speed train in California is showing that it's going to be very, very expensive to acquire and implement the right-of-ways necessary for a Acela-type, maglev, and even Hyperloop, because there's going to be money paid for right-of-ways when they bore through the earth. So we're going to be hearing more of that from National League of Cities. And finally, I spent a significant amount of time discussing the challenges faced by municipalities regarding pension plans for valued employees. There are some real issues out there. In one case, one state, the state's actually gotten involved where they're dictating to the municipalities what they have to do now. And that state's Illinois. On the 21st, the HDC had a meeting. It was interesting to see one of the applications was to replace a leaking metal roof on an old structure with another metal roof. And the only thing that they were changing was the color. That's significant change that's come about over the last few years where our property owners are willing to invest in their properties with something that costs a little bit more money. The other thing that was in front of the HDC was St. Bernadette's?
Yes, Bernadette's.
Bernadette's in the Boss House. This Miss Nash, I think is the woman's name, has expended all of her savings to get this off the ground. And she was approved for a sign. I think the Board of Appeals has approved her site and landscape plan. So hopefully she'll be successful there. This will be her third stop, and hopefully this will become a home for her program. On 24th, I met with Kevin Turcos. He's a student from the University of Maryland, majoring in public policy and international relations. And we discussed municipal operations and in general, and some specific challenges faced by small municipalities like Laurel. That concludes my report. Mayor Mo?
Thank you, Mr. President. A couple things. I'll try to move quickly. I hope everyone did have a happy Thanksgiving, and city offices were closed on Thursday and Friday, as you may know. I want to thank, you heard Councilmember DeWalt bring up the Laurel Fire Department. Did have the opportunity to meet with the Texas group the day before. I couldn't make it, but I want to acknowledge the fire department for working with others in their time of need. And Mr. President will probably ask them to come here and recognize the fire department a little bit later after the first of the year for their efforts there. But good group. They toured police department and other facilities, and then the next day the donation was made. So we appreciate their hard work and their efforts to help those in their time of need. Did have the opportunity to attend the Evolution Apartments at Town Center, the ribbon cutting, and with other members of the council. And as you heard Councilmember Small say, it is a well-planned and amenities for those that are living there, something that I think the city of Laurel should be very proud of that is there, but more importantly, had the opportunity to talk to several residents there that were very excited that moved from other areas and really liked what they had to offer there at Evolution, but more importantly, what the city had to offer as well. So it was nice talking with those people. We appreciate the invitation. As you heard, we did the tree lighting at the town center, and it all went off without a hitch, and appreciate the invitation to be part of that ceremony and all the residents that came out. I did have the opportunity on the 21st to attend the Laurel Presbyterian Church. They had an interfaith Thanksgiving service celebration. I was very honored to represent the city and work with the clergy there. A great opportunity for the community to come together, and really appreciate the invitation to be with them. As you heard, the Thanksgiving Day, the 13th annual Turkey Trot to benefit Lars started at McCullough Field. I assure you, I did not run, I walked. I did get through, but again, it's a good cause for an organization does an outstanding job with the community, and I know our police department works with them hand in hand, as well as some other of the departments, but in particular, that was a good day. And as you heard, well over 800 people participated in that event, and it was went off without any problems. A couple of announcements. City facilities are collecting canned goods, non-perishable foods. We're doing that for Lars. If the general public has anything non-perishable that they would like to give to Lars, you can drop it off at any of our city facilities. If you want to write a check to them as well, you can do that in the Office of Finance, and we'll make sure the money gets to Lars. On December the 1st and 2nd from 10 a.m. until 2, the Laurel Historical Society will have their open house at the Laurel Museum on Main Street, and also on Sunday, December the 3rd from 1 to 4. So if you get the opportunity to stop by, they have an ornament that you can buy. They do every year, and another organization does a lot of hard work for the community. On December the 2nd, busy day in Laurel, starting at 9 a.m. will be the Breakfast with Santa, and that's at the Laurel Police Department at Partnership Activity Center. And if you don't get, the reservations may already be done, but you can try. So it usually goes quick. At 2:30, this is new this year, 2:30 we'll have the annual holiday parade from the Municipal Center here to the Laurel Armory Anderson Murphy Community Center along Montgomery Street. Have a whole day's activity, and the tree lighting will be at 6 o'clock. And Joanne Barr, our Director of Park and Recs, told me this afternoon they have a whole day of activity filled. Somebody's going to come and do an ice sculpture as well. A lot of things. So come down and take part, and then come for the tree lighting at 6 o'clock. There'll be plenty of games. I guess I should have flipped the pages. There'll be kids' games, crafts, ice sculpture, food, various vendors in and around the Laurel Armory and the Murphy Community Center, and in the Laurel Elementary parking lot. So again, we hope to see everybody there. On December the 8th at 1 p.m., city offices will close early for the annual employee holiday party. It's at 1 o'clock. City offices will be closed on December the 8th. On December the 9th at 12 p.m., Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day ceremony will take place at the Laurel Municipal Center Memorial Garden. That's out front here. The American Legion is putting that on. You may also see some construction work going on. We do have a piece of the Berlin Wall that has been put up. It's not completed. But again, as I've always said, when we're done with that and we put the different boards up, it's really going to be a place to bring our kids and the youth, to remind them of what has gone on and the things that people have sacrificed for our community. So I'm very proud of what we're doing out there. You may have seen the new sign on Route 1. It has been completed, it's been repointed, and logos have all been updated. on there. It's welcome to the city of Laurel. There is lighting. It's solar. So we are moving forward with a lot of different things when we talk about solar and sustainability. So if you get the chance, take a look at it. And it turned out real well, and we appreciate all the hard work there that they did to get that restored. We also landscaped that area, so it does look 100% better. Maglift, you heard a little bit about that. Tonight there's a public hearing over at Roosevelt High School right now. I can tell you I am not a fan of Maglift. I think the damage it'll do in the communities is just outweighs everything. And from going from Baltimore or Washington to New York with no stops in between, I think we ought to be taking those funds and that money and put it in our infrastructure that's currently there, which we need badly. So we may end up sending a letter, Mr. President. I'll talk to you and the council later, but if as we move forward, it may be something we want to talk about to go on record of not supporting that and doing different things with that money if possible. In January, we started giving the Shop Laurel bags out. We have some in the back. We're here at City Hall. We are going to, again, in January, mid-January into January, 1st of February, we're going to work on getting these bags out to the community. We're working on recycling. We want to continue to do that. We want people to take these to the store, get away from using the plastic bags as much as possible. But in these bags will be information about recycling, be information about council, what they're doing, what my office is doing, and the city. So it'll be a lot of good information, but the bag in particular, we want people to use and show it off and really take part in the different programs, especially when we talk about recycling. Sorry I missed the Lions Club tree, Carl. I think that's probably the first year I missed it. Nobody put a notice up at the firehouse, so I didn't see it, but they probably did a lot better without me because I was getting in the way most of the time, I think. But let me remind everybody, the Lions Club in particular does this every year. The Christmas trees, they give back to the community and they don't ask for recognition, but I can tell you they do a lot of good work, especially when we talk about Christmas trees. If you need one, that's where you go and get it. All that money comes back into the community, and they do, again, a wonderful job of the trees and putting money back into the community, and appreciate all of their hard work as well. So don't take the opportunity to go and find a tree over there and support the Lions Club. Mr. President, that concludes my report. If you're okay, I'd like to read some appointments.
Appreciate that.
Mr. President, I'd like to appoint to the Historical District Commission, Councilmember and Council President Les. To the Planning Commission as ex officio would be Councilmember Smalls. The Environmental Affairs, the chair would be Councilmember DeWalt. And the Public Safety and Transportation chair would be Councilmember Sidnor. Also, the Tree Board, when we went through these, the Tree Board doesn't have a council rep, but I'd ask, Mr. President, with your approval, that Councilmember Nicholas continue to work with them and be a liaison to you and my office on things that they need. So I'd ask for your approval.
Thank you. I have a recommendation by the mayor to make the appointments to the various committees and commissions. What's the pleasure of the council?
I make a motion to approve all of the recommendations to the committees.
Thank you, Ms. Nicholas. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Smalls. Call the roll, Ms. Rao.
Ms. Nicholas?
Yes.
Mr. Smalls?
I vote yes.
Mr. DeWalt?
Yes.
Mr. Sidnor?
Yes.
President Les?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. President. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mayor. Move to agenda item number 8, general public hearing. I will open the general public hearing at 7:26. I have no one signed up to speak. Is there anyone wishing to speak? Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing at 7:27. Agenda item number 9, introduction and first public hearing on ordinance number 1926, an ordinance to amend the code of the City of Laurel, Chapter 2, Administration, Article 9, Community Redevelopment Authority, Section 2.186.1, Membership. I've read the title into the record for the first reading. I'll open the public hearing.
When you're ready, I got
Yeah, it's 7:27. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. President. As I stated, I think before, we have been working on trying to change the membership. Donna Crary, former council member Donna Crary, has been serving on that. There's a lot that's been going on in the CRA. We dropped all elected officials because we really wanted it business and related to those that had an expertise. So these are the changes. My intention with this as we move forward is to ask Ms. Crary to continue on with this committee, which would be 5 members still that we originally started with. So I'll answer any questions anybody may have, but I appreciate y'all's support on this.
All right, Mayor. Are there any questions of the mayor on this introduction of ordinance number 1926?
The work session we'll have it in.
Okay. I have no one else signed up to speak on this agenda item. Is there anyone wishing to speak? Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing at 7:28. There will be a second public hearing with possible action at the Mayor and City Council meeting on Monday, December 11th, 2017 at 7 p.m. President's prerogative to add to the agenda. I'm going to ask for adjournment to closed session to discuss the acquisition of real property. Statement regarding closed session, Monday, November 27th, 2017. The following statement is made regarding the adjournment of the Mayor and City Council to closed session on this date. The reason for adjourning to a closed session is to consider the acquisition of real property for a public purpose and matters directly related thereto. The authority for this closed session is contained in the general provisions, Article subsection 3-305, B in a bucket, 3 in a bucket, signed by Michael Arlez, Council President. What's the pleasure of the council?
Mr. President, just for the record, I'd ask Mr. Goddard, Spar, Ms. Crook, in attendance, and if you have nothing else, we'll dismiss the other department heads since.
Okay, we'll do that. Can I have a motion on this adjournment?
So move, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Smalls. Do I have a second?
I second.
Thank you, Mr. Sidnor. Call the roll, Ms. Rowe.
Mr. Smalls,
I vote yes.
Mr. Sidnor,
I vote yes.
Mr. DeWalt,
Yes.
Ms. Nicholas,
Yes.
President Laz.
Yes. As you heard, the mayor has excused everybody except the people who will participate in the back room. Thank you.